I'm Peter Bukowski, host of Locked On Packers, and when it comes to what makes the Green Bay Packers compelling in 2021, the better question is what doesn't make the Green Bay Packers compelling in 2021? Let's start under center with Aaron Rodgers, where we may be in a last dance situation. He fought all offseason for a little bit more control in his future, more control with the front office on decisions that affect his job. Well, the only decision that may affect his job next spring is whether or not he's going to be back in Green Bay. And now with a voided year in 2023, he could be out of town next spring, leaving one last run to win another Super Bowl with a team locked and loaded to compete for that Super Bowl. And one of the key players in all of that also looking for a new deal and could be part of that last dance, Davante Adams. This was the best tandem in the league last year. They have already started off flaming hot in training camp, picking up right where they left off when Davante Adams looked like the best receiver in football and Aaron Rodgers was winning his third MVP in the league. What happens this year? Because we don't know what could happen in the future. Green Bay going for one last Super Bowl potentially with Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams. What more could you ask for if you're a Packers fan in terms of intrigue and drama?
I'm Chris Carter from the Locked On Steelers podcast, and Pittsburgh, you have plenty of reasons to be excited for this football season. Despite any of the national media narratives, the Steelers are in a very good position to be competing all throughout the 2021 season, especially because they're returning the number 3 defense from last year in the NFL, and they've added key pieces like Melvin Ingram, and they're getting back the best safety in football in Minkah Fitzpatrick, the best edge rusher in football in TJ Watt, maybe the best 1-2 punch defensive tackle in Stephon Tuitt and Cam Hayward. Oh, and by the way, Devin Bush is back and healthy. But on the offensive side of the football, you're going to see a return to old school Steelers football, running it to the running back. Now, James Conner did a good job when he was in Pittsburgh, but Najee Harris has the potential to be one of, if not the best running backs in the NFL. The Steelers have said they're going to be committed to running the football. They're finally going to have a balanced offense again, and that's been when this team has been at its best. I'm Chris Carter. Check out Locked On Steelers.
It's been a while, Broncos country, since we had 76,000 fans roaring at Empower Field at Mile High. When the Broncos defense is on the field and it's third down, the stadium is shaking. That returns here in 2021. We are excited that football is back. The Denver Broncos, they have a young team and a collection of a lot of talented potential on the roster on both the offense and the defensive side of the ball. But more importantly, we miss the tailgates. We miss the atmosphere on Sundays in Denver, where opposing teams have to come a mile high to compete, and they're catching their breath by the time they even enter the locker room. Before they go out for on-field warm-ups, they're already feeling it. That is the mile-high magic that we have been missing for the last year. And finally, it is back, and we are so excited to share this with you once again. The Broncos offense has a big question mark as to who will be the quarterback and can they take the next step. The Broncos defense, they feature a variety of talent with Von Miller, Bradley Chubb, and a really exciting secondary on the back end that is sure to make a lot of passes fall incomplete. We are excited. Football is back.
David Harrison here for Chris Russell and myself, host of the Locked On Washington Football Team podcast, talking about why we're so ready for football to be back in 2021. And I'm going to start with one word, guys, and that word is Fitzmagic. Ryan Fitzpatrick coming over from the Miami Dolphins to help lead this team. A much improved offense with the likes of Curtis Samuel joining the roster, draft picks like De'Ami Brown also joining that offense. Should be a high-powered, high-flying offense that we see in the nation's capital this year. And then on the other side of the ball, we already know the Washington Football Team defense was on another level last year. At times looked really, really solid. That year has another group together. You also have the additions of players like William Jackson III, Jamin Davis from the first round of this year's NFL draft, and the return of Landon Collins. And oh, by the way, one of the best and smartest head coaches in Ron Rivera in the second and what looks to be the final year of the Washington Football Team history, as we have a new name on the horizon. Plenty to look out for all across the franchise in the nation's capital, and that is why Chris Russell and I are excited for football to be back in 2021.
It's officially time to rise up, Red Sea. After a year away, we're back, baby. We're back on the Great Lawn, tailgating, and the nearly 65,000 crazy, screaming fans will ascend upon State Farm Stadium in Glendale to cheer on one of the most exciting teams in football on paper, Alex, but they've got a third-year quarterback who I'm expecting to take that Josh Allen type leap in Kyler Murray. 37 total touchdowns last year, 4,600 yards from scrimmage. It's got to be all about the K1 show this year. What are you excited about with the return of football?
I get an extra Christmas this year, Bo. I get 18 with 17 games and actually December 25th. No, I'm excited for AJ Green. I want to see if he's got juice left in the tank like I still think he does. And defensively, I want to see if this pass rush can replicate what Vance Joseph put together last year, even though Chandler Jones was out for the majority of the season. Isaiah Simmons is going to be one of the main cogs, and I hope that the Cardinals can figure out how to kind of rush the timeline of Hassan Reddick and infuse that into Isaiah Simmons and allow him to jump outside maybe a little bit earlier than his fourth year in the league.
What's going on, everybody? David Drogemeyer here of the Locked On Chargers podcast, and I am very excited that football has finally made its return. I think one of the main reasons is because the fans are finally going to be back at training camps, at the stadiums, watching their favorite players and their favorite teams. That is one of the best aspects of football, one that was sorely missed last season. And for the Chargers, a lot of other things to be excited about. A new head coach in Brandon Staley, a new coaching staff, second-year quarterback Justin Herbert after having a historic rookie campaign to see what he looks like in this new offense, paired up with Joe Lombardi and all those exciting weapons on the offense for the Chargers, including a new offensive line. On the defense, I'm really, really excited to see Derwin James. It's been almost 2 seasons since we've seen the positionless Derwin James on the football field, a guy who can truly impact the game in many different ways. Really excited to see what he looks like in Brandon Staley's new defense. The Chargers have a lot of things to watch for this season. For more on the Chargers, check out Locked On Chargers, your team every day.
I'm Ryan Tracy from Locked On Chiefs, and the Kansas City Chiefs enter the 2021 season with only one goal, and that is to return and to win the next Super Bowl, making that 3 in a row for a team that came on like gangbusters, had a slip up last season against the Tampa Bay Bucs, and actually got caught in a position that left them feeling pretty embarrassed. All around Kansas City, the focus is on getting back to that game and actually bringing home another Lombardi. That's easy to say. Getting to it begins in training camp, runs all through the season, and around Arrowhead 1, the focus is definitely there for Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Chris Jones, along with Andy Reid and Brett Veach to be focused on everything they need to do to bring the entire community along with them as they try to go back for a 3rd Super Bowl. Can they get that done? It's a tall order, but it's a question that they have burning, and we're going to cover all year long on Locked On Chiefs. Hope that you'll come along for the ride, enjoy the season. This is Locked On.
This is Kyle Krabs of Locked On Dolphins, and I'm excited for the return to football to see what Tua Tagovailoa cooks up in year 2 as the starting quarterback of the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins under Brian Flores have exceeded expectations in each of their last 2 years, and now the expectations are high. So what does that mean? I'm excited to find out.
I believe that football season is almost finally here again. The best place you can get all the best information insight into your favorite NFL college team is at the Locked On Network. We've got everything covered from a local and national perspective 5 days a week. And for you fantasy football players, we'll be there for before the big draft day and all the way through your path to a league championship. Will the Bucs and Crimson Tide roll again, or will new champions be crowned? Time to get excited for kickoff and keep turning it up a notch until the final touchdowns are scored for the 2021 season. On Locked On, it's all your teams every day, all season long. And for you fantasy football players and bettors, accept more big numbers and even bigger action.
Hi, I'm Tony Wiggins with Locked On Jaguars. I'm really excited about the 2021 season, but I'm really excited for the fans of the Jacksonville Jaguars. They've struggled. They've struggled for most of this existence of the franchise, but now I believe they have what it takes to win in the combination of a winning coach and a very, very talented quarterback. The thing is they're going to have an identity, and the identity is what's going to represent Jacksonville, not the losing identity being a false representative of what this community and this city is about. The people here are tough. They're competitive. And I think the Jaguars will have the attitude that they're not going to try to overcome adversity and trouble when they're on the field. They're going to be the adversity, and they're going to be the trouble that everyone else has to overcome. And I'm really, really excited for not only the fans of Jacksonville, but the entire city as a whole.
I'm your boy Q, host of the Locked On Raiders podcast, here to tell you about the upcoming season, why I'm excited about it, why I'm fired up about it. And when you talk about the Raiders, there's a lot of different storylines that you can look at and storylines that I'm going to be looking at. You know, the Raiders, John Gruden, return to the sideline. This is year 4. Can he finally get them to the playoffs after tearing the team down, rebuilding it? Can they make that push? That's one storyline. But I think, honestly, when it comes to the Raiders, the most exciting thing about the upcoming season is going to be what the fans are going to be able to do, which is head to Allegiant Stadium, the brand new building, the Death Star, a lot of people are calling it, that great black stadium that you see right off the 215. Just a fantastic place that, well, Raider Nation didn't get to enjoy in 2020 because of COVID-19. No fans were allowed. Monday Night Football, very first game of the season. The Baltimore Ravens come to town. It's going to be so much fun. The only game in town, Monday Night Football, not a doubleheader like it normally is. So Raider Nation will be able to pack out the building, see their team up close and personal. I think it's all about the fans in 2021 as far as the Raiders are concerned.
Locked On Rams listeners, I'm your host, Sosa Cremenjas, and this 2021 NFL season is likely going to be very exciting for Rams fans and Locked On Rams listeners, of course, because the Los Angeles Rams are going to have a new quarterback for the first time in the Sean McVay era that is not named Jared Goff. And of course, that is Matthew Stafford. He's going to lead the Los Angeles Rams into battle this season, and I think that's enough to be excited about. Now, of course, betting markets and major media markets do also believe that the Los Angeles Rams will be one of the best teams in the NFL this season, as their win totals are high, and they are one of the favorites to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. So this season should be plenty of fun for all Rams fans and all Locked On Rams listeners.
Football is back, and there is plenty to be excited about for the 2021 season. I am Kevin Ostreicher, host of Locked On Ravens, and for these Ravens in particular, there are a bunch of storylines. The big one being Lamar Jackson, and with an improved receiver group and an improved offensive line, can he continue the hot start that he has already had so far throughout his NFL career? Can J.K. Dobbins step up in year 2 and break out even more than in 2020? And on the defensive side of the ball as well, the Ravens add Justin Houston for some pass rushing help. Can he step up to the plate? In the secondary, Marlon Humphrey, Marcus Peters, and Jimmy Smith, all guys to be excited about for sure. The second-year linebacker, Patrick Queen, many expect he will break out as well. All around, so many exciting things for this Baltimore Ravens team, not to mention the fans. The fans getting back into M&T Bank Stadium, cheering on their team. The energy throughout M&T Bank Stadium with fans there is always electric, and I'm sure the players, the coaches, and everybody involved is waiting and really excited for fans to get back into the stadium. So plenty of stuff to be excited about for this 2021 NFL season, and I know for one, I can't wait.
This is Corbin Smith, host of the Locked On Seahawks podcast. There are plenty of reasons to be excited about the return of Seahawks football. New coordinator Shane Waldron teaming up with quarterback Russell Wilson and his star-studded cast led by DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. Also an improved offensive line in front of him, and plenty of star power on defense as well, with Carlos Dunlap and Jamal Adams set to return, and Bobby Wagner coming back for his 10th season. But most importantly, the 12s are going to return to Lumen Field after not attending any games last season due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Seattle was one of a handful of teams that didn't allow a single fan into a game the entire season, including their wild card loss to the Rams. As the players have been able to enjoy to start training camp, having the presence of the 12s back is going to be a big deal. Seattle has had one of the best home field advantages in the NFL for a long time. The players and coaches are looking forward to having the noise return to the stadium and make life difficult for opponents during the 2021 season.
Ladies and gentlemen, football is back. Could not be more excited for the NFL season to start. Could not be more excited for everything going on with the 2021 Tennessee Titans. The hype for this season is about as high as it has been in the last 2 decades. The Titans have already had one of the best offenses in the NFL over the last 2 seasons, led by the superstar trio of Ryan Tannehill, A.J. Brown, and of course, King Derrick Henry. But now they add Hall of Fame talent Julio Jones at wide receiver, and the sky is the limit for this Titans offense. On the defensive side of the ball, the Titans will need to make some big improvements, but 2 major signings on the defensive line, Bud Dupree and Danico Autry, and an infusion of talent in the secondary and a lot of youth as well, should lead the Tennessee Titans to being a contender for not only the division crown, but also the Super Bowl.
Football is back, and Chicago couldn't be more excited for 2021. I'm Lauren Cox from Locked On Bears, and for a while we've just been locked on Justin Fields. That's all anyone can talk about at Hallis Hall. He is the future. The future is now. It's not quite now, but the future is soon. It's sooner rather than later, and Bears fans are just counting down the time until their new franchise quarterback takes over and leads them to the promised land. It's such a hype that's building around this quarterback. Andy Dalton will be the bridge, and that's fine. There's no ill will against him from this fan base, but everyone wants to see what this top draft pick quarterback is going to do, and if he can turn this franchise's fortunes around at such a key, important position. In the meantime, still want to see this Bears defense get back to its 2018 form as well. Maybe replicate some of that success with 12-4, a trip to the playoffs. Boy, there's nothing better than playoff football in Chicago, and we're ready for it.
Anticipation, excitement, and everybody excited really for this season. That's what's going on in Detroit. Matt Derry with you from the Locked On Lions podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network. Really an optimism like there hasn't been in a long time in Allen Park, Michigan right now for the guys like General Manager Brad Holmes and head coach Dan Campbell, bringing in younger players, starting a rebuild, new quarterback for the first time in 13 years, Matthew Stafford out, Jared Goff in, and a lot of good young position battles. This is a team in 2022 or 2021 that's not going to win a lot of football games, but fans are into it. Fans want to see what the new guys look like. The roster turnover has been pretty significant, and the Lions feel like they've got a better culture now and are more focused on winning and having a little fun at their facility in Allen Park. This is not the doldrums of training camp anymore. Guys rallying around each other may equate to a few wins. Vegas says, and our friends at BetOnline, 4.5 wins, maybe a little bit more, with a guy like Dan Campbell leading the way. That's what I'm looking forward to as training camp and preseason get underway.
Hi, everyone. I'm Patricia Traina, host of Locked On Giants. And this year, the New York Giants are really looking to make a push to make it to the playoffs. Will Daniel Jones in his third season take that quantum leap? How much better will the defense be? And will the Giants actually be able to get to their goal of making the playoffs and winning the division? These and so many more stories are what we're following here on the Locked On Giants podcast. And I am so excited that football is back. For everything on the New York Giants, make sure you check out the Locked On Giants podcast Monday through Friday, wherever you get your podcasts.
What's up, everybody? Louis DiBiase here of Locked On Eagles. Why am I excited for the start of the 2021 NFL season? There's a million reasons, but the big one for me, looking back at all the starts of new Eagles eras, you look at the start of Andy Reid, Chip Kelly, Doug Peterson, you always remember where you were that first year, the new excitement, the new hope, the new optimism across the city of Philadelphia, who just loves their Philadelphia Eagles football. And with a new quarterback in Jalen Hurts, with a new head coach Nick Sirianni, with a new wide receiver core, a young core on offense and defense, it's really exciting to see where this new era of Eagles football is going to take us. And then, of course, I'm just excited, too, for the off-the-field things that football does for everybody. Football unites. It brings families together. It brings friends together. It brings strangers together all across the world. And I think that's something really special and unique and should be cherished forever. And so I get excited every year for that reason. But this year especially is a refreshing start for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Some like the spring and summer. Others like the fall and winter. Me? My favorite season is football season, and it's almost time for the boys on the gridiron to be back in action. I'm Mike DeBate, host of the Locked On Patriots podcast, and I know you're as excited as I am for the return of NFL football. Each and every week, your favorite team doing battle with the other 31 teams in the league for supremacy and a shot at a Super Bowl. Here in Foxborough, Massachusetts, it's almost time for your New England Patriots to take the field, and a lot to be excited about here in New England. A revamped defense, a Boston Tea Party featuring 2 tight ends that could be very exciting to watch, Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith. And of course, Cam Newton and Mac Jones will keep us more than occupied when it comes to the quarterback position. It's almost time for kickoff for football in Foxborough. Let the games begin.
David Harrison, James Yarko, the Locked On Bucs podcast, talking about why we're excited for the return of football in 2021. James Yarko, why are you excited to see the Buccaneers play football again in 2021?
Well, I'm really excited to see a solid title defense. They didn't have a great one following their Super Bowl 37 championship, so I'm excited to see that. But also the offense, you have a full offseason with everybody back in the same system, including Antonio Brown, just the one addition of Gio Bernard, so the offense should be clicking.
Yeah, speaking of returning players, Todd Bowles, the best defensive coordinator in the National Football League, gets all of his weapons back, and he adds first-round pick Joe Tryon. Super excited to see what that group does with another year together, another year to blend together, and the addition of some youthful talent. So Todd Bowles and that defense running at a Super Bowl championship caliber level at the end of the year. Looking forward to see what they do getting back on the field in 2021.
Oh, and by the way, we get more Tom Brady.
I'm sitting here thinking about how exciting this NFL season will be. Specifically for the Houston Texans, we're getting a stench that we do not want in the building anymore from our previous coach. We're also looking at so many different things. Brandon Cooks as the #1 receiver for this team. His leadership has been tremendous throughout this entire offseason, especially in training camp. The ups and downs and who is going to be the backup quarterback, Davis Mills, Jeff Driscoll. Mills has a good day, has a bad day. Will he eventually play? And I got to tell you, man, for the Houston Texans, I'm very excited to see this new revamped offensive line under James Campen. And then for the entire NFL season, Brady just turned 44. Can he keep it going? Is this the year Lamar Jackson actually takes the Baltimore Ravens to the Super Bowl? And of course, what kind of craziness Patrick Mahomes will break out this year? No look pass, behind the swing back pass, I don't know. This NFL season will be exactly what we want. And oh yeah, Aaron Rodgers, we want to see this last dance. Woo, I can't wait, man.